The real problem, the biggest problem with uncertainty, if you could define all your uncertainties, then as I once wrote a paper which argued that you could have a general equilibrium where you have a security conditional on the uncertainties.
And intertemporal ones.
But it could be intertemporal, could be some things that, yeah. But the trouble is that people have different information.
Yeah.
And that's the asymmetric information.
Yeah.
But it's more pervasive than people, I think, usually think under that head. The usual idea of asymmetric information, that I know something about you, like a doctor knowing more about you than you do.
Yeah, you're.
But even if you don't have that, all I'm saying is I know more about myself than you do about me.
Yeah.
You see, that's asymmetric information also. Now, that's not what people are usually concerned with. It's usually like a principal agent problem where that's one where the agent knows something the principal would like to know, so he creates incentive mechanisms and so forth. But even if you don't have that, take the simplest case. The reason is, as soon as you have time, we have exchanges over time. I'm lending you money because I want money later.
Yeah.
I'm going to retire or whatever. Yeah. You can make a lot of stories. And you borrow the money because you want it now. You're an investor.
Yeah.
The trouble is, so I have to know then not only about myself, I have to know about you. Now, our usual formulation of one of the things we say is wonderful about the market system is that each individual has to know very little.
Yeah.
That's what we think is the wonderful thing about the system.
Yeah, it's.
All I have to know is the prices. I mean, I have to know myself. I have to know all about the things that affect my welfare, my productivity. But I don't really have to know anything about anybody else. Well, that's all reflected in the prices. The prices convey all the information about the rest of the world. I don't care.
Yeah.
But that's in a static world, that's okay. But as soon as you have a dynamic world, with time, then if I lend you money, I have to be sure you have some idea that you're going to repay it.
And that's
because you know that I don't know what your capacity is. You might borrow a lot of money. And we have these, and so then the result is that instead of the simple contracts, the world protects itself. I mean, people are too ingenious to be taken in.
Yeah.
So the result is they create all sorts of complicated instruments. For example, collateral.
Yeah.
But that's not in the simple general equilibrium models don't have collateral in them.
No, not at all. But that's what you developed.
But
right? That's what you develop, like starting to take uncertainty into general model so it can make it more real.
Yeah. But that's only a first step because it does not allow for this information. So the result is I have to develop beliefs about you. Mm-hmm. But really, the trouble is what you're going to repay me depends on something in some other market. For example, you're a manufacturer. I'm lending you money to invest. Maybe somebody's thinking of a new product, which is going to. You don't know about it. You don't even know about it. I certainly don't know about it. So then I start forming beliefs. And how do I form my beliefs? Well, I may look at what's happened recently. Has the price of your security gone up? And so, but then you see that's fragile because one new piece of information.
Some kind of Bellman equation, like to take information from the past and try to mix it with what is going to be optimal in the future.
Well, that's right, but the trouble is, in the Bellman stories, you know what you need to know.
Yeah.
If you don't know it, you have a probability distribution.
That's why it's so interesting.
But now you don't have the base. If you take probability, you have conditional distributions. Mm-hmm. It's conditional on your information. My belief about the future is, I have a probability distribution, and I observe some things, so I condition on it. But it's I don't know the model. I don't even know the model. It's, in the real world. So and one of the reasons you don't know is because there's continual novelty.
And the black swans.
Well, the black swans, but that's the black swan seems to be more restating the question. The black swan's correct.
Yeah.
But the trouble is, black swans isn't entirely the point. For example, one of the big differences, in the late 1980s,
Yeah.
we had a real estate crisis in the United States,
Yeah.
just like we have now. It was called the savings, and it was a different matter, because at that time, a lot of the mortgage lending was done by a specialized kind of bank, called the
Okay.
Savings and Loan Association.
Okay.
Okay, well, there was a boom in the real estate market, so it collapsed, and these SNL, they call them SNL, savings and loan.
Oh, okay.
Everybody called them SNL.
Yeah.
The SNLs were in trouble, and then the banks had lent to them, so that the regular banks had lent to the SNLs, and the SNLs, they were in trouble. So but the fact is, it was averted. It didn't lead to a collapse of the whole economy. There was a lot of the SNLs failed.
Yeah.
One issue that came up there was that when you're in a bad way, when the SNL is facing a crisis,
Yeah.
should it be risk? What should it do? Should it take risks or should it not take risks? The answer is they're going broke.
Yeah.
You can't. There's a lower floor. You can't go be negative. You know,
Yeah.
You're out of business. That's all you
Yeah.
can be. So at that point, you might as well take big risks, actuarially unfair risks. 'Cause you
Unfair
don't-
to the community or
No,
unfair to the
unfair,
market?
you know what I mean by actuarially unfair. I mean, the expected value, it means,
Yeah.
the expected value is negative. You take a risk where the expected value is negative.
It's a big risk.
Well, it may be a big risk, but where the expected value is negative. In other words, I think more likely than not, it's not gonna make it. But I'm going broke anyway.
So.
So, yeah, might as well, therefore, the only hope is to take a big chance. I'm at the gambling casino.
Oh,
And
yeah.
see, I'm going broke. I've already lost more money than I have. I might as well try.
Yeah,
Even
so you
though
don't mind,
if the
like,
odds
losing
are-
any more money.
Because if they can't do anything more to me
Yeah.
than declare me bankrupt.
I've done that once, the casino.
And on the other hand, if I win, I'm out of my troubles.
Yeah.
So the result is there's a kind of what they sometimes call in engineering positive feedback.
Yeah.
You know, the more if you do something, if you go down one path, you're more likely to keep on going that way,
Yeah, so you can.
either up or down. This way, if you're then you might as well take more risk, which means on the average you're going to lose money, and that's going to affect society because you're not actually going to pay it.
Mhm.
Somebody else is bearing it. With, of course, with bankruptcy,
Yeah.
somebody else is bearing the risk. You're not bearing the risk. Somebody else is.
Yeah, somebody's gonna pay.
So
for
there are
it.
things in the system almost necessary. I mean, what can you do? You're not going to torture people or something. That people are going to be. So banks. Well, one of the things was pointed out, banks were taking big risks just because they were already in trouble.
Yeah.
So
that's what
the
happened.
fact there was some trouble made the trouble worse. Now, in that case, we got into the economy and inflated it, and it bailed out these banks,
Mhm.
and it cost a few $100 billion, but it was
Even
over.
more.
It was over. It was up. Now, why? Much the same thing happened with these subprime mortgages, but it didn't happen the same way. The financing has changed radically in this period. Namely, you had these mortgage-backed securities.
Mhm.
Instead of the primary thing was not the SNLs. Their source of money was the people who deposited with them.
Yeah.
See, the SNLs, they were banks, but they were banks where they paid interest on the deposits.
Yeah.
And they could say, you can't take it out immediately, you know, you have to give notice when you take it out. And it's not like a regular bank where you understand, it's what they call time deposits.
Yeah.
You go in, put money in, and you understand that the bank may say, you can't take it out tomorrow, we have to wait 60 days. So the bank was a little protected, but they're paying interest to compensate you.
Mhm.
They're paying a higher interest rate than you get on a bank deposit. So that was the form of financing. So it was essentially limited by the willingness of people to deposit.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, instead of that, you have these mortgage-based securities, where the risks of default are spread over the entire economy.
Yeah, because.
And by the time you get through, there's nobody in charge. The bank that originally issued the mortgage isn't losing any money. They sold off their risks.
Everybody's gonna pay for that money.
So The result is somehow, the reason I'm pointing out, in a sense, people had no experience with mortgage-backed securities. There was no past to form a probability distribution.
So now they have formed the experience, so indeed.
So-
Okay.
Now, I'm sure that, so the next time, this isn't gonna repeat itself, but we'll have somebody's gonna invent a new security.
Yeah.
In other words, that's why you might say, why do you need need regulation? Why doesn't the market, why did people take those risks? Well, they were sort of.
Because they were just.
They were shifting they thought they were shifting to other people, and
Everybody
after all,
thought
some very big financial institutions went broke.
Yeah.
See, it's not just ignorant people.
Yeah, it's just like.
The thing is, it's easy to explain why an ordinary depositor may not realize that his bank is in trouble.
Mhm.
It doesn't pay him to investigate. I mean, if I got a few $1,000s in the bank, I'm not going to spend a lot of time determining whether the bank is safe.
Yeah.
But these people were not. What Lehman Brothers was not that. They
had a lot of money.
They were very experienced. They had a lot of money at stake. See, the real mystery is why the market didn't police itself. Why they took these risks.
Mm-hmm.
Because these were highly informed people.
Yeah, for sure.
And they had a lot of money at stake. I mean, the existence of their firm is at stake.
So why do you think they did that? Just.
Well, I'm not complete. To tell you the truth, I mean, all I'm saying is all I can say, and I don't know the answer. In fact, it still puzzles me.
Mhm.
I do not know really why an experienced place like Lehman Brothers would take such risks to the point where that bank. And there was no need limit, so there was even before that. There was an English bank. I have to leave for a minute. An English bank named Baring Brothers,
Mhm.
which has been in existence, I don't know, since 1800 or something like that.
That much.
They helped finance the Napoleonic Wars.
Wow.
A real experience, maybe even older than that. They had one fellow who was investing for them, who was buying these, buying these.
Yeah.
And one of the officers of the bank said, this fellow can invest $500 million with no check. Nobody's checking. And he went to the chairman of the board, he said, there's this little. The chairman said, he's making all the money for the firm, don't bother him.
Just like that.
Well, he went to jail, and it's the, I don't think, he went to jail not because he stole the money particularly, because he didn't.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was misled, he was getting into trouble, he did concealed it. And he lost, and the bank went broke because of this one man's investments. So this is a new world. The trouble is that the rewards, they for a few years are making enormous profits.
Yeah.
And this was the information which they made their condition. They had no other information. They were making a lot of money. If they didn't do it, they'd see other banks were making money and they weren't. Other investment banks. Okay, I'm afraid I have to stop now. I'm sorry.